All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome to the stream. I hope all is going well. Greetings from the rainy, wet Midwest. It's been raining all night. It's been raining quite a bit this week. We've had a number of thunderstorms and a relatively major storm on Thursday. It was pretty bad. A tornado touched down about 2.5 miles from my house. Um, wasn't as bad as the one that was in a little farther south in Illinois near a town called Streeter. That was a huge freaking tornado. Did a lot of damage. There were, from what I understand, about 6 to 7 major touchdowns and about 27 funnel clouds spotted and recorded in the northern end of Illinois and into the northern end of Indiana. I know my states. I know my neighboring states. Indiana, where the Bears are going to play. The Indiana Bears. Get used to that, Chicago. I'm an asshole. But it was pretty rough. There is a retail Walgreens drugstore. I never worked at this one, but it's been in my town for a long time. I guess part of the roof blew off or was taken off. There's a BP gas station across the street that all its pumps, the casings that were knocked over. Surprisingly, the roof over the canopy over the uh, hoops that wasn't taken off, but damage all over the place. Trees down. The wind was pretty bad. We have a tree right in front of our house in what is called the parkway. So we have our property. There's a walkway, a sidewalk, and then there's a grass property to the street, and they call that the parkway. The village actually owns that. That's in case they need to do work and expand the street so that it doesn't affect people's property. But they usually will have to come out. They're going to have to come out and do the trim trimming. There is a lot of big broken branches up in there, but there was a lot of stuff in that. So if you are in some very inclement weather today, getting what we had the last couple of days going out east, please be careful. Please take care of yourself. Please take cover. So Thursday, about 7 o'clock in the evening, all the air raid sirens, the tornado sirens start going off. And we start getting the text messages and the buzzing on our phone, or take cover. Tornado has been sighted, and the wind started kicking up. So we don't have a basement. We do have a crawl. I don't know if that's particularly safe or easy, to be in. But you usually check a room that's, what do they say, in the southeast, southwest corner of the house, or a middle of your home that has a lot of framing around it. And for us, we have a um, bathroom area. It's just a toilet with a sink, but it's only 3 by 6, 3 by 8. So there's a lot of framing around it. So that's where we will, as uncomfortable can be, that's where we would go for this, and keep your fingers crossed. Well, my son, priorities. He grabs his laptop and brings it down, puts it on the sink, goes up. He's got a little diamond dove bird, grabs the cage, brings that down, brings down the tray that was eating dinner off of, and shuts the bathroom door, leaving me and mom out in the kitchen area, looking at each other. And the wind really, I mean, it kicked up. It was really bad. But we didn't see anything. I'm not I'm not sure. I think it was coming from the south, the tornadoes. So Um, I don't think we were on the trajectory. Oh my God, excuse me. Good morning. The trajectory of the tornado. Um, but that's pretty close on that. And all of a sudden, I get a text from my nephew. Is everything okay? We're hearing that your town's in the news. Um, my mother-in-law calls, texts. My sister-in-law text. My sister texts. It wasn't until later, watching the 10 o'clock news that we did see the coverage. They were out here in Bartlett on the one corner. Oh, I just doxed myself. Oh, well. Good morning. So, and then it's been pretty much raining all night. A storm came in, not as heavy as it was the other day, but thunder and all that. So I have to get out there and take another picture of my garden. I took a picture of my garden before all this rain and lightning. And I had heard that, tomato plants really like um, storms and lightning. Was it when lightning happens, it leaves ozone or whatever more in the air, and the plants thrive on that. Went out Friday. My God, these tomato plants were just freaking huge already in just a couple of days, and they gotten so heavy and knocked down from the rain that I had some wood planks that I cut down into little like one, not even 1 by 1s, probably a half-inch by half-inch square as stakes, and then I gotta mount them to the stakes so they don't fall over. But we should have a good crop this year. Grass seed that I put down, everything started now all of a sudden growing. We've been watering all that, but very, very anxious to see what I get out of my garden. I have the raspberry bush that I've had for a couple years. Last year did absolutely nothing because I had replanted it the year before. Yeah, I probably didn't do it right. But this year it is flowering like crazy. And the birds are going to get a lot of raspberries. Hopefully we can get the raspberries before the birds. And I put a couple strawberry plants in a pot by our back door. Then we had some seeds, so we have 5 waiting for 5 basil plants to come up and 5 more green peppers. We like green peppers. So I do have a number of green pepper plants going already, but more is always good. So weather-wise, that was pretty much it. I mean, it was a bit exciting. We're safe. No one was killed. Maybe a few people hurt, but no one was killed. There was no real hurt, but there was a lot of damage. Man, that thing. It seemed like it touched down and pretty much didn't travel on. I think it touched down and took off. Someone's got it on video. I saw online. So what else? We just outside of that, an uneventful week. Been reworking on some of my Linux OBS setup, specifically audio. I cannot get now on Windows here. I know it's maybe not the most clearest. I don't have the clearest voice to begin with, but the settings in OBS. I watched a number of videos and had spent hours kind of, which is the worst thing, listening to myself speak as I'm adjusting settings on the for the gate and the limiter and the compressor and all that comes with OBS. On Linux, because I can use the same filters and I have But on Linux, I am using um, Easy Effects because I can't get VSTs to work on the Linux side because of uh, issues with the docks opening up and be able to do the settings, and that's because the system I'm on is on a Wayland environment. That's why you can't get custom browser docks in most of your Linux distributions, which is the biggest complaint.
Steve, someone has joined the chat on YouTube.
Good morning, Nate. Yeah, I did have a brat yesterday with sauerkraut and then made some coleslaw, so plenty of cabbage yesterday. Oh, thanks for relieving me. What's up, Nate? Good morning. Realized I didn't have no music going. Going to listen to some on Twitch. Gonna listen to some, not soft rock, but soft rock today. Was just talking about the storm that we had here on Thursday. A tornado had touched down about 2.5 miles west of us. Got pretty lucky. It was pretty lucky. But all this rain, lightning, and that has really done great for my garden. We should have some good maters coming. But it's been raining all night. It's supposed to rain until noon today. I got to get out there and mow the lawn. It's pretty shabby. Haven't been able to mow because it's been raining. But anyway, he's talking about my Linuxy woes. I know you don't want to hear that, but so I can't get like VSTs and that to work. So I have to use Easy Effects, which I created some voices on, or voice sounds profiles for my hologram and my hacker and all that. And I cannot get, all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, but something changed somewhere. And Easy Effects is not hard, but it's not particularly easy with its filters. The filters in OBS are very simplistic. You're supposed to have a picnic today, but the rain. Is the picnic at your place? Just open up the big cubicle shed and leave the doors open. But yeah, it's always fun. You got plans, and then the rain. And then come June, July, and August, it is going to be dry as a bone, probably. Although with this big El Nino happening out the West Coast, I think we might have a pretty wet summer this year. We need it. So it's going to be at a township park. Okay. Well, I hope it clears up for you. I think you're getting a little remnants of what we had yesterday. And then today. So trying to get my audio bright. I mean, I will be honest, performance is slightly less on Linux than it is on Windows when it comes to OBS and using things like the webcam and all that. I think I finally got the lighting just right, so the camera looks okay, but most of the time you can get away with a semi-decent, or a little bit of a offsetting with the camera, but the audio, if people don't hear your voice right. And so I was also working on, I seen a video the other day about an old Linux friend, about when I first got into Linux back in 2015, and looking at light distributions to use on a Asus netbook 1001 HA, which at the time had 1 gig of RAM, and I upped it to 2 gigs of RAM because that's all it can go to. Used to run Windows XP. And I had looked at Linux Lite back then, and my two that I was going for was either Linux Lite or Peppermint, and Peppermint had at the time had won out. But Linux Lite, it looks pretty good these days. They're on Linux Lite 8. They've done a bunch of customization. It's probably one of the better looking XFCE setups in Linux that I see. But it was a bear, believe it or not, to install. I don't know what exactly it was or is. But I had to manually partition the drive to get it to install because it would not build the partition for boot. Now, I was installing this on an old HP Compaq 8200, your small form factor business computer. And it kept failing with the boot drive or the boot partition. Boot drive. So I don't do it too often. I usually I'm not one of those that are going to do all my you do very fine partitioning of your drive. Leave that to all the bigger Linux geeks. Just install the system and I'm happy. But I had to manually partition the boot drive, the boot partition, and then the home partition, and it installed fine. But then once I got it installed and tried to run an update, it was a different what they call a pub key, which kind of ties it into the repositories that Linux Lite or that particular distribution resides in, and where the updates go and all that. So I had to go through, and I hadn't done this. I remember this in the early days of Linux. Often there would be a pub key issue in that. I had to do a lot of searching and looking up. Excuse me. Good morning. And got the pub key and all that installed. But then the Linux Lite website and all that was down. I don't know if people were really downloading it or that, but that was down for a number of hours. Finally got the updates to go. Finally got it running, and now it's replaced the laptop I had in our family room because I have a nice 1920 by 1080 HP monitor that came with it. 24-inch monitor, which is perfect for digital. We can see images much better than on a 14-inch laptop screen. So I'm like, okay, I've been having pretty good success with running OBS on Linux on Endeavor OS on Arch, but I am using the AUR, and if you're into Linux, you've heard about the attack on the AUR. I'm pretty sure that the OBS stuff is safe because that comes from a particular maintainer who also works as support with the OBS team. It's not officially, his version's not officially supported, but if you have a problem with the OBS Studio Titan build, that is Titan 652 is the maintainer, and he's also one of the helpers in the Linux forum on OBS Discord. So they will help you with it in that because he does that. I believe there's also in Fedora, there's an RPM install from, what's his name, Terillium? It's also not official, but I guess in the RPM world, like with Fedora and that's closest that you'll get to an official blend, unless you're using a Flatpak. And in Linux, running the Flatpak is just not an option for me because I lose half my stuff that I have going on. Although OBS will say, OBS is just perfect the way it is. It is for basic streaming and that, but to have fun and do a lot of actions and all that. I run 30 plus plugins, 34 on Windows, I believe, and 32 or 31 over on the Linux side, which can cause problems and that. But I, you know, chatting with another streamer and it's like, can't do anything less, you know. It's what we want to do, and as long as these uh, programmers, developers, plugin creators are making the plugins and they look good, we're going to try them and we're going to use them. So I'm looking for an Ubuntu based system that I can install the official Linux version on again. Pop OS is just not it with its Cosmic Desktop and its Rust settings and all that. Does not work well with OBS. I don't know if they've improved, but I've stopped using it. I used to be a big fan of Pop OS. I've used that for 4+ years and had a nice official install of OBS on it. And all the plugins that are made for Linux are actually made for that. And in most cases, they're actually easier to install than in the Windows version. So I'm like, okay, I can add another SSD into my drive here and install Linux Lite on it. It would be perfect. Ubuntu base. It's now based on Ubuntu 26.04. Unfortunately, right now, OBS has not released an official release for 26.04, but it's coming. And it's relatively what we call lightweight, custom. You know, I wouldn't have to do much in changing the setup and that. Well, this time I go and I download a different ISO because of the issues I had with the one I downloaded. Don't know if that was the issue. Had to do the same thing. Had to partition the drive for boot and for home. Got it installed. Had no issues with the pub key this time. Updates and that went through. And because I have the NVIDIA 4060 on here, it installed the Novo, the open source NVIDIA like driver, but it doesn't give you, I don't believe it doesn't give you Mesa and some of the other goodness that helps you with NVIDIA. And they had in their driver updates, they did have the 585 driver and the 595 for NVIDIA. All right, I'm gonna go with the 595. I know I'm on the 600 now over on Endeavor. Reboot, blank screen. Having kernel, I think it's like kernel crashes because driver. Went into grub mode and got into uh, where I can repair it and downgrade it to the 585 driver. That didn't work. Downgrade it to the 550 driver. That didn't work. All right, Linux Lite is not what I thought it was. So my trials will continue. I am not a distro hopper. I'd like to stay on a specific distro. There's just a lot of, which will be relatively good improvements for Linux coming, especially on the Wayland side. The problem with that, it's not Wayland itself, it's the Chromium Embedded Framework. They have to update and work Wayland into it, and I guess it's a big project. It moves along, it will leap, and then it will crawl, and then it will leap, and then it will crawl. Uh, so in the meantime, I guess I just keep trying to improve my Endeavor setup. Um, but looking to get to the more official install. Like I said, the flat pack, the flat pack for most would be okay if you are a simple streamer. But for me, it's just because getting if the plugin is not in a flat pack format, it won't work. Now you can kind of get some of the plugins maybe to work. It's hit or miss. But like I said, I have 30 plus plugins on Linux, and 15 of those are in a flat pack version. But then there's no VLC, so doing music players kind of are out the window. Um, your video sources are different. You know, you do have a choice between VLC source and a media source in OBS, but the media source doesn't do a playlist like VLC does, and a bunch of other stuff. And I think uh, I did a test on my Arch system. Uh, worked with cover your ears. Worked with AI on it. Came up with a script that grabbed all my plugins and that, and I was able to get another 10 plugins to work. But four of them out of the five were something I really like, the VLC, the tuna plugin, and all that. It just is not a option for me unless I could find out another way to. Um, you could easily do music in the background and all that. That's not the problem. And do I need a music player? It's nice to have. It looks different. It shows something on the screen. So that were my Linux woes this week. I'll be working probably later today and through and tomorrow on my audio. I think I almost have it. I was able to clean up some of the other special effects that I made, like the hologram profile voice. I cleared that up a little bit, and the matrix voice. But there's so many settings, and trying to learn what each setting does. You know, some of the profile plugins for easy effects on Linux are very simple, or they got a number of boxes. The equalizer itself is just like you can set it up to be a 6-band equalizer, or a 3-band, 6-band, up to 30-band, 32 bands. Oh my god, I wouldn't know how to handle that. And I tried to look. There was a microphone profile that I found, but that really didn't do anything with the voice. So it's basically a matter of trying to figure out and learn what these easy effects plugins do and how to set them up. And it's a lot of hearing your own voice, or it's setting it up so the mic, and it's about a brief delay as you hear yourself speak, and that is really hard. Or it's constantly recording video and then listening back after you do each setting, and it's a long process. It's a long process on that. So those are my Linux woes this week. Guess what? No woes on Windows. Oh, how can that be? How can that be? Um, getting hyped up for the the new Spider-Man movie, and I mean, my son really likes Supergirl, so he's hyped up. I'll probably take him to see that this month. Can't Of course I can't remember them, but there's a number of movies that I was looking for. Not all superhero movies either, although Doomsday hopefully will be pretty good. If Doomsday doesn't do it, then like superhero movies, I think are done with. Um, Constantly getting hyped for the Highlander reboot with Henry Cavill. At least I think they got a very good director in what's his Wachowski. He's a director and that of the John Wick movies, so should be pretty good action. As far as like shows, right now my wife and I on Paramount Plus are watching uh, Mayor of Kingstown, and oh my god, that's actually a pretty brutal series to watch with Jeremy Renner. It takes place in this make believe town of Kingstown in Michigan in the U.S. Very blue collar, you know, not a bit run down. There's a big prison there, and Jeremy Renner's character, he's the mayor of Kingstown. He kind of tries to keep the peace between the gangs on the street and the cops and the gangs in the prison and all that. There's some pretty brutal action in there, but season 4 is starting out pretty good. It's not for the faint-hearted. It's pretty rough, but we like it. It's one of the Taylor Sheridan creations, and he's done pretty well with it. Tonight on PBS here in the States, I know it's over on in England, and I believe it's been shown already or started already. But the second season of a UK mystery detective series called Patience, and it's about this young lady who has autism, and the actress in real life has autism, and it's about her. She works in the file department, and as she's organizing everything, she reads all the files and she puts everything together. Kind of, she discovers cases that are happening and that. But it was pretty good. But we're looking forward to starting it tonight. Although I might have to wait and watch it tomorrow with my wife because she's working today and she's doing 2 jobs today. So I won't see her through most of the day. And we can't watch them apart. No. So looking forward to that. We love the UK series and that. Looking forward to the next season of Professor T. When we had Amazon Prime, and we only sign up once in a while for the free month of Prime. Excuse me a second. Excuse me. We had started watching Young Sherlock Holmes. A bit different, but not bad. Not bad. But that's the kind of things that we like in our household. Of course, my son, it's all his anime stuff and animation and stuff like that. I'm currently listening to an audio book. I've gotten into the series. The books are about 10 years old, I think, at this point. The author is UC Adler Olsen uh, from Denmark, and it's about a character, a detective inspector, Karl Moch, which Netflix had did, if you did, had was called Department Q, and the first book that's based on is actually, I think, Department of Missing Persons or something like that, and they look up cold cases, old going in that. So I'm actually listening to the fifth book. I love the very first reader. They call him the speaker. Going blank now. Orator of the first book was really good because he was. It sounded like he was in the Danish language, the accent and that. The second book had a speaker that was more set up for reading like Sherlock Holmes, more English. It was a little more Cockney, but the 3, 4, and 5, can't remember the reader's name, but he's actually perfect for this series and that. And they're pretty good. If you're looking for if you're into mystery, detective and all that, check out UC Adler Olsen on Libby or your library platform, and that. I'm waiting for the newest release from Craig Johnson, who does the Longmire series. His books are always popular. And they're easy to listen to. They're easy reads. And what I mean by easy, he's not over wordy, And I'm really fond of the Longmire character. I'm 57th on the list on hold. It says could take months. That's how many people want to listen to that book.
Steve, someone has joined the chat on Twitch.
Hello.
Just for you, Andy. Hello, Andy. Hello. How are you, my friend? So, yeah, so that's my enjoyment right now is listening to the Karl Malk mysteries from Denmark. I'm okay. How are you? I'm good. We survived a nice thunderstorm here Thursday. Tornado touched down about 2.5 miles from our home.
Someone has joined the chat on Twitch.
Hello.
Oh, Hans gets the same treatment. Hello, broski. What's up, Hans? Got my head in fedora right now after ARU has been compromised again and again. Yeah, so I was just talking about my Linux woes this week. And I think I'm having good success with the Endeavor setup from the AUR. I think that could be kind of trusted because of Titan 652 is the maintainer, and he does maintain a good portion of the plugins too. He's packaged up a bunch of the plugins I think some of the other plugins from maintainers I don't particularly know might be tricky. Um, but he's part of the OBS support team, so they do support it. As long as no dependency hell strikes, yeah. But I've been looking at going back for streaming. I probably would. I do like Endeavor. I'm fine with it as far as my daily driver. But for my studio setup, as I'll call it, with OBS, I'm looking to go back to an Ubuntu-based system because I want the official, Ubuntu install. The Flatpaks just don't do it for me. It's been 1,600 plus packages, mostly NPM crap that's been hijacked. Now NPM is I'm still an arch noob. So you know, getting used to that. I have to admit, I'm a bad boy. I don't look at the package before I install it. But I don't do. I think most of my stuff from the AUR is for OBS. The Node Package Manager and all the fancy devs do that. I mean, I kind of trust Titan, since he is supporting OBS, and it's not an official OBS package, but because he's there and he's a support person, they do support it. I do believe, like for Fedora and that, you can find a RPM package that is by. Trying to remember, is it by Terillium? Is the supporters is the guy's name? Over on the OBS Linux forum and Discord. They will help with that. It's not an official package. But yeah, I mean the Ubuntu install will be your closest to a Windows install, and it will be, since most of your all the plugins actually are built for Ubuntu based systems. Like when Finite Singularity packages them, they're all for Ubuntu. He's had a number of them for Flatpaks. But there's some things that I've talked about that Flatpak won't do, that I need, like tuna and the VLC stuff. Unless I can code vibe and figure out, and I wouldn't put it. It would be just for me and how to get music and that.
Someone has joined the chat on YouTube.
Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order?
Well, hello, Crazy Tech. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for coming by. Didn't a lot of packages from the Arch Linux AUR get compromised? That's what Andy was just talking about, 1,600 plus packages. Maybe I'm crazy, says Cubicle Nate, and we'll just stop there. Maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like the ISO downloads have been generally slow lately. Actually, I have to say that dependent on the distribution, I've been finding most packages download pretty quick now for Linux Lite and Ubuntu. Now so I'm going to check out Ubuntu. Kubuntu, KDE, I just don't, KDE is just, I think there's just too much stuff in there for me. I just really like my GNOME. But so I did those with a torrent. But I think it's the internet. I think it's dependent on, what's going on. Andy says the experience is the same once in a while running via VPN. It goes faster with downloads, but I guess that's a German provider issue. I don't know if you'll get this, Andy. There's a new German AI out there. It's called Schultz. But I think it's maybe got a real hard privacy setting on it, because when you ask it questions, it says, I know nothing. Yes, Schultz. American, you might get it. You might have seen it over from American TV. Just my little clever. I came up with that when the other day. Yeah, yeah. So when Finite was talking about AI the other day, and how his Hogan's Heroes, exactly. So the new German AI is Schultz, and when you query a question, it comes back with "I know nothing." Because I guess what Finite, the OBS team, no AI whatsoever. I get it. It's their stuff. Can't expect the young folk to understand. I know.
What a boomer.
I thought it was clever. Just like that. Although what's old, what's old is new again, right? And to be honest, I've watched a lot of it in reruns, but never realized that it went on for like about 5 or 6 seasons. Just me being me. It gets a bit boring after 30 episodes, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, considering that they weren't in, they probably weren't in prison for 5 years or 6 years. But it was a clever show. Just like the show, it was too clever for TV. F Troop. The Indian tribe was the Hakawi, but originally they were going to be the Fakawi, which is kind of a short, where the fuck are we? So some censor picked it up right before they released the first episode. We can't have that, so they changed it to the Hakawi tribe. Or where the hell are we? TV. Censorship. And still US TV. I mean, you're getting your shit and damn and some of the other stuff in there, but network TV, you can barely still say the word, you can't say fuck. You can kill someone, you could shoot someone in the head, but you can't say fuck. What a country. What a country. Made brats yesterday on the grill with some sauerkraut and a side of beans and coleslaw. Wow. So 2 forms of cabbage and some beans. Makes for an interesting explosion. Yeah, that's gassy. Oh. So what's going on with you, Andy? What's going on, Cray Z-Tech? Oh, Crazy Tech. So how did you find me? Just always interested, interested. I'm just, I can't talk half the time. I'm always interested in how people find me and what they find interesting in that. I'm kind of a, words. Yeah, Andy, they just, it's, I'm just kind of like an open streamer. I do certain things during the week. This is my Sunday morning, coffee Klatch. It used to be the Lennox coffee Klatch, where I would have guests and that. I stopped doing that. I can't do that anymore. Whoever invented them will probably be in hell. And then I'll, of course, and then add all the different languages to it, right? Couldn't we would be like the aliens or whatever on Disclosure Day. Of course, Nate's got to throw that in. I'm wondering if the reason you have slower performance on Linux is because you run GNOME. Plasma is much more performant. No, I don't. Nah. Now, I was trying out Zorin 18 because it's Ubuntu based as a possibility, and it was still on X11 to run my OBS on. That's even worse with OBS on Linux than Endeavor is, and Endeavor's not so bad.
Steve, someone has joined the chat on YouTube.
Hey, hello. Hey, hello.
It's a Schurm initiative. I'm wondering if Steve has a lower performance because he isn't taking the right pills. No, it's So actually, I guess it might just depend sometimes. Right now, well, I'm on Windows right now, and we're running on the average about 8% on CPU usage. And I know that's not a big marker in that, since most of my stuff will run off the the GPU. But the same scene in Linux is running about 10 or 12%. In Zorin, it was running about 17%. Hans, you asked me when did I first try Linux? Back in the day, back in 2015, 11 years ago. In fact, 11 years ago, last month, it was May of 2015. My wife brings home an Asus netbook, 1001 HA, an XP little netbook. And the rest is history. Currently trying to decide if I switch to Fedora. I just reinstalled my whole system. Not sure if I want to do that again, but AUR compromises something else, and I don't think they want to take action. No, they're gonna, it's always been use this as your own risk. They're not gonna fed anything, which it's you know, um, it's just not. I get it, but I don't get it. You know, it goes along with the RTFM stuff and that. So, I'm just looking at it from the streaming aspect and how I want to stream off of Linux. And using the official, like I said, I'm not using the Flatpak. I don't care what the team says and how well the Flatpak works. It is, to me, and to many streamers like me, pretty useless to use because of the absence of plugins. That either the plugins, you have to either really screw around to try to get them to work, or they need to be in a Flatpak version, which I guess is a bit of a trial. Finites are in Flatpak versions because Exeldro has helped them. Exeldro's Flatpaks, most of them, not all of them, are in a Flatpak version. So you can get 15 of the 30 plus Flatpaks I use, or 15 of the 30 plus plugins I use are in a Flatpak. So that tells you something. I've done several comparisons between them. I can see no sucking up an extra 2 or to 9%. Zora uses GNOME with extras. Well, my GNOME has extras and all that. I did try, I've tried KDE a couple times, and it's just still not for me. I never thought GNOME was going to be for me, but and XFCE, the reason why I'm looking at XFCE right now is because it will still be on X11. Not that I want to stay on X11, but I do, I'm learning stuff. I've done stuff on Endeavor with my OBS setup that I've never done before. All the script creating and stuff like that, the voice control and stuff to make it very Windows-like. And I mean that in performance and using the apps and, voice control and all that good stuff. But it takes a while, and it is a bit different. That sometimes when I go back and forth, I go, oh wait, I'm on Windows, I can't do it this way, I got to do it this way. Oh wait, I'm on Linux, I can't do it this way, I got to do it this way. But I'm gonna decide eventually on a Ubuntu-based system so I can install the official OBS version, where all the plugins that are that the developers, the plugins creators make when they make it with Windows and Linux and Mac in mind, they're Ubuntu based. Or the next step is, if I stay on Endeavor, I really, really, really have to learn how to package them myself for me for my Arch install. And then I got no one else to blame but myself. But I look at do I spend more time maintaining stuff than creating and streaming, or do I just, because no matter what, I mean, I'm only using what I only use Windows to stream with. It's not my daily driver. I may, if as I'm working on my OBS setup on Windows, I may be watching someone on Twitch or YouTube or a video, but I'm not doing my daily stuff, my email checking and all that. That's all done on Linux. So Linux is my daily driver. My son is very used to, I have a profile on him. He's using Endeavor OS, and he, you know, uh, just watches videos and stuff like that while he's on his Windows laptop. And he's okay with that. Instead, because we've been using Windows on my Linux on my desktop for a number of years. I just recently, 2 years ago, went back to Windows. Yeah, I got tired of the Linux stuff as far as like streaming and that. Because once I discovered StreamerBot and some of the other things that I can do on the Windows side that I can't do on the Linux side without really working on it, or really just trying to find a workaround or something like that, that gets very tiring. And and if you just want to stream, you just want to stream. That's me. That's just me and how I do it. And I look at both systems as a tool. I'm going to use them as I need them. I keep, call me crazy. I mean, yesterday, Nate, it got a little bit, everybody needed their tinfoil hat. You guys are just talking about Lieber Wolf, and you guys went into this tinfoil hat Saturday, and I ran out of tinfoil. I couldn't wrap my head enough. And I don't care what you do to your browser, what you do. Once you're online, and if the browser is not grabbing your information, if Google's not grabbing your information, if Windows is not grabbing your information, your ISP is grabbing your information. So it's never going to be completely private. So I don't look at that stuff. Oh my God, this is what Windows does. Oh, it's a tool. It might not all be good stuff. The philosophies are different and all that, but I just want to use a computer as a computer and stuff. I do now. I'm retired, but I don't want to spend every bit of my frickin' day wondering how I'm going to block my internet or ISP or all that bullshit. Oh, I get that. So the point of the conversation was to limit your exposure. You can never completely be protected, but you can limit how much damage is done. I think understanding where that line is the challenge. Yeah. I mean, there are some that are just, oh my, just like, I'm unplug, when I'm done, I'm unplugging the internet, doing all this and that. I don't have time enough in the day. You know what? And the damage to me is already done.
Steve, someone has joined the chat on Twitch.
Hello, Kate. What's up, darling? How you doing, Kate? What's up, sweetie? Oh, I'm not quitting, no. As much as some people would like me to quit. If they pay me to quit, maybe then I will. No, and Cubicle Nate's stream yesterday with the Linux Saloon, it got a little, controversial with someone saying how didn't really particularly have proof of it, but it was just his belief. And, it was a lot of like tinfoil hat kind of things. Mr. Slurm says running a private browser is privacy theater at best. The amount of exposure limitation via the browser is negligible at best. Yeah. And I'm just, I just use computers, as tools, and some of the politics in them, whether it's right or wrong, whether I'm part of the problem or part of, not part of the solution. You know what? I that's why they want to build all these data centers to the problem of me not caring. So the whole thing between the Windows world and the Linux world. The Linux world, Windows is all bad. As Nate, it's loaded with malware. They try to get all your information and all that, and me not doing anything about it. I'm not going to run these tools because, unfortunately, like with using StreamerBot and that, you can't use some of those tools to strip down Windows 11. You can't. It'll strip down what StreamerBot uses. And then I just don't like streaming all the time on Linux. It just really is a pain in the ass for what I do. And it gets to be a real controversy in that. So Andy says, the internet is the problem. Yes, the internet. Slurm says, the real privacy violations come from the services and sites you visit and log into. You can block things from your client side, but the activity within services is shared with ad networks and others. Yeah, and then people will use, I use this VPN. Well, do you pay for it? No, it's free. Oh, okay. No, it's not free. You're paying for it. You just don't know it. Kate, and this is not an offensive thing in that, but sometimes ignorance is bliss. It applies for banking and financial services. The moment you get a mortgage, credit card, oh my God. Andy Slurm. Yeah. Oh no, that is so true. Now I'm, like me, I'm careful with my stuff. I looked at my Medicare site the other day, and I noticed a denied charge or denied payment for medical supplies, which I don't use. It was catheters to the tune let's see, it was for six, so it was almost $1,000. It was over $1,000 a month. It was about $6,000 worth of charges that Medicare denied, but it was from a medical supply company that I've never dealt with. I don't order medical supplies. I don't need to. I'm lucky there. And I called Medicare and I said, this is not me. I said, I don't need catheters. And they took the information and will forward it onto the fraud division, but I won't have to worry about it. They marked that it wasn't me, but that's on a big rise. So did they get my Medicare from a doctor's office and things like that? Now, I can't minimize what happens on my own computer, but it's like the moment either you use the, online services and stuff like that, or, the doctor offices, dentist offices, whatever, and put it in their computers. We see daily all these companies that get data breaches. And Slurm knows it because you test your team, you send out emails, and you see who clicks on a link. And do you remember that test from a couple years ago, Slurm? You were talking about how many emails did you send out, and how many didn't click on the link? It was like only 6. And Slurm says he's more concerned about having stronger relations with companies and organizations to handle our data with care than I am with running some random private browser or a shady VPN. Boom. Kate says, "Oh yes, I agree. I'm not happy. I'm happy at not understanding any of it until I need to understand it." It's like, say outside this window, there's a deep crevice, but you never look out that window, so you never worry about your house going over that crevice until it happens. Oh, Kate says, "I wonder how many people are being scammed and forced to pay money they don't owe." It happened to my mother-in-law's neighbor. She was, who knows what she was looking at, but it was, how some of those ads get in there and it pops up. One of those things, a virus or whatever has been found on your computer. Call this number. The FBI needs you to call them. And she got scammed out of thousands of dollars. She didn't call anybody. Emails daily from, I got one pretending they were from Xfinity about, now Xfinity is supposedly going to get rid of their email service and they're going to let Yahoo handle it, and they're doing it in sections. So that's out there. So now you need to update your email. Click on this link, but it's from utahrocker.com. And he says, and if it's just a small amount, some will rather pay than refuse to. Just $5 here and there, multiply it by 1,000. They just, look at some of those scam videos. Couple of the guys out there. What's the one guy? Jim his last name begins with an H. He's pretty good, and there's a couple others where they're able to reverse scam the scammers and put malware on their system and deletes their files and all that. There's just not enough of those people out there to stop these people because these centers are all over the world. All you can do is, as far as emails go, if you get a link, in your email, it's, look at the email address. Do it, whether you're on mobile, don't know what kind, I don't know how iPhone's emails are or that, but you can usually do a drop down and look where they came from. And usually it's a compromised an email address from someone, whether it be Yahoo or, once in a while Google.com, but it's either domain names to, like I said, it was utahrocker.com or whatever from Xfinity. I don't think they're sending it from utahrocker.com. Never click on a link. Never look at a PDF unless you know exactly where it's coming from. So like, my wife, she's going to a new dentist. And now my wife doesn't have a smartphone. She's got a flip phone. So she asked the link to be sent email wise. So she's got to fill out, and it was a secure email PDF how secure those are, who knows, and that. But she's like answering all these questions, and the ass that I am. One of the questions was, any other oral issues? I said, just say your husband was always satisfied. Whoa. I've gotten emails. We got you on. We hacked your. We got you on cam, masturbating to porn sites, and we got the porn sites, and we got your video, and and we got your, your whole email addresses, and we will send that out. I go, okay. I always wanted to be a porn star. I dare you. Go ahead, do it. No, I don't respond to any of those. I just put them to spam. Yeah, I was practicing for my future OnlyFans. Not that there's anything to see. No one wants to see an old guy. A shriveled old guy. Automod got you. What the... There we go. So Kate got scammed and it was her fault. Got text from PayPal telling me that there's a suspicious activity on my account. I need to log in and change my password. So I clicked on the link. And good grief, it wasn't really PayPal, but I didn't realize until my daughter asked me what I ordered. And that they make it. Some of these are really good emails. And some of them are absolutely shit that go, man, could someone fall for this? I used to, when I was working at...
Someone has joined the chat on Twitch.
Hello, Omega. You think they were checking your bank card details right away and it worked? Yeah. So, one, I know 100% of the time these emails are scams and they didn't get into my site. But I have measures, you can set it up on your banking sites and that for charges. You can have, you can set up the limit and all that, and you'll get a notification of a charge goes through and stuff like that. The first thing you do, you don't call these people. The first thing you do is you call your bank or your card or whatever, and that's always a safe way. You almost got scammed on Steam, Andy? Yeah, that happened to my son a couple years ago. Someone reached out to my son and said, I made a complaint about you. I realized it was wrong. It was the wrong thing. You're going to be locked out of your account. And if you give me your password and all that, I'll straighten it out for you. And my son did. And we really didn't know about it until he started asking us, what's my social security number? Why, what the fuck's going on? What's going on? And he had some Steam cash in there, not a whole lot, but he had some Steam cash, but he has a lot of games. He's bought a lot of games over the years on Steam. And so we emailed Steam and told him the situation and all that, and then he was able to get his account unlocked and nothing was ever taken in that. It's like, dude, don't ever respond. Come to me first, Anybody asking for a password. I think he's learned. But my wife, she got a bunch of emails yesterday, and she goes, "Oh, honey, this, I bought another." Well, it was yesterday, but it was like, I bought $419.21 in Bitcoin. Who buys 1,400, like 21 cents in Bitcoin? You know, I get that all the time and all this. So we make fun about that, or uh, uh McAfee or Norton or um Best Buy's um support and all this stuff. They created an account and copied the profile of one of my friends, then sent a request, which I accepted thinking my friend messed up or something. 2 weeks later, when I forgot about it, they asked me to join a tournament game and log into a site that was almost exactly the Steam page, mimicking. Wow. Yeah, they can, never, just learn. Never respond to links. Never respond to links on your email unless you're absolutely 100% sure. Look at where the email came from. But never respond, never call. That's where you have to be. That's where you have to be. Oh, what's the words I want to use? Andy words are so hard. That's where you have to do your diligence. And we don't answer, who answers the phone anymore? I love my Google Pixel 8, my 8A Pro with my Google Voice Assistant who answers the phone for me, unless it's a recognized phone number from my list that'll go through. Every once in a while, there's someone might dial the wrong number. But especially with the storms that we've been having, we have the storm chasers out, the guys that want to come and inspect your roof, inspect your siding, all that stuff. And they're from companies that you Google them and you can't find their company. Like, why the hell do I want you on my roof? But we never answer the phone. If if someone can't leave a message, then they're not worth calling back. You're such a turn-up head. No. Um, that I'm bound to get scammed properly at some point. I think I'm careful, but scammers are clever. Yes, they use social engineering. They try to make you feel bad. Just you know, answering machines are your friend. Voicemail is your friend. Just never answer the phone. Omega's been considering to try a different distro on the other HD. Yeah, Linux woes, Linux. You're basically looking for a Plasma distro shipping Plasma 5 with long support. Well, I mean, KDE, right? They have long support. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, every once in a while, like I got curious again. I told the story a couple times today already, and this past week, I saw a video on Linux Lite 8, and it looked really nice and some of the customization they were doing to it and all that. And that was one of my choices. At the time, I ended up going with Peppermint. Started out with Peppermint 4, and then stayed with Peppermint through 10. But Linux Lite was up there. It was just missing some things, or I didn't understand a whole lot about it at the time. I thought that would be a great distro to kind of be my streaming platform on and be Ubuntu based. Get the Ubuntu OBS install on it, and then it would be really good with the plugins and all that. And whatever it is, it's just been a bitch to install. Basically, because your fave file manager and widget style, both from the same dev, are not willing to port them to Qt6. That for me, it's just like, I don't think of things that way in that, but that's how Linux is. You just really can get into it real easy, or you can really go in hard and deep in Linux too. Oh. But you have your choices in that. But yeah, security wise, on whether it's home security or internet security or banking, it's like such a mixed bag, and we have so much on our minds. Most like Google and that, it's getting information to send you ads while you're online and streaming. And I don't know about you. I mean, they're pretty annoying. I don't use, especially if I'm using Chrome, I'm not using ad blockers. On Firefox, I do. I just don't use Firefox all the time. It's just not, it's never been my browser of choice. But ignoring some of those ads, I know like on your phone or on your tablet, it is nearly impossible to suppress a lot of those ads that pop up. But the things that you do have to worry about are the emails or the phone calls or the stuff that's trying to get to your bank, or the old phone calls of, "Hi, this is Windows. This is Sam at the Windows Security." And Windows reported to us, Microsoft reported to us that you have a virus on your system, and we would like to help you. And then try to get you to install something, not Teams, where they can get access to your computer and scan your computer. And they run
Steve, someone has joined the chat on Twitch.
There he is, Nova Charta. Team Viewer, yeah. Team Viewer is a couple out there. And they run I forget what the background thing is, but it runs a bunch of stuff. And then and one of the things in there has to do with your internet connection or whatever. And it will say there is a foreign, what's the readout say, something like foreign connection, and they say, see, oh, that it's foreign, it's not supposed to be part of your system. And that's just the way it's read, right? But people are like, oh my God, and then they get you that way. Han says, I heard that Chromebooks aren't being targeted as much by hackers. Oh, well, I mean, the whole like Linux kind of background thing is, it happens and you see more and more stuff about Linux, um, oh my gosh, going blank. Words, Andy, words are so hard. Vulnerabilities on your system. But there's so many. The words are not your fault. Sure they are. What's up today, Nova? How you doing? But vulnerability is a hard word. I'm always so vulnerable. Take advantage of me. Please take advantage of me. No, no, please, please. No. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's just it's a nightmare. I mean, when I was at Walgreens and people would be buying their tons of like $500,000 worth of iTunes cards or whatever at the time, or Apple cards, or Amazon or whatever, and right away, oh my, and they're talking to someone on the phone, right away that they are being scammed. Nova's doing all right. Going to celebrate some birthdays and an early Father's Day. Did a 24-hour on-call Friday. Oh, boy. Did you get many calls? Well, you're bold, Omega, because I wouldn't try any of those. Those are not my thing. That's all. That's all stuff out of my radar and what I would like to run on my system. And you would question the person, because we were trained to question on, what do you need these cards for, and that, what is it? It's not your business. I said, well, right now it is. And you hear them because they're holding the phone like right in front of you, and they're on speaker, and you hear the guy voice, and don't listen to them. They don't, they're going to try to stop you and that. But if you don't do this, like, you are being scammed. You had one call, was random food delivery dude trying to get into a building in California. I couldn't help him with that. But your anxiety had kept you up all night. Yeah, because I mean, you can't, I mean, it's not easy to stay up for 24 hours. One can do it, but if you snooze off and then you hear that, your phone go off, or however you got to do it. Um, and, not respond. What? Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, there is a 1 hour SLA, but I can't sleep, but need to call them back within an hour. Okay. You know what you do in those cases? You do a 24-hour stream. You take your break when needed, and if you get a call, you pause the stream or whatever, you go on, you'll be right back. There you go. That's an idea, huh? You get those calls, Grandpa? Now, I don't have grandsons. I probably, unfortunately, never will. But I would love to get one of those calls. And just be an asshole and say, "Who the fuck is this? My grandson's dead." But just so many ways to get scammed. Just so many. And, we have to just be diligent all the time. That really being online and trying to set up a browser to be as private as possible just seems like, to me, a near waste of time. That's just my opinion. I'll need to see if I can get the normal shift off next time. I'm sure most of the calls these days are AI scams, But if you don't answer them, the thing is, just use your answering machine or use your phone. Like I was saying earlier, the pixels have, with it today, AI try now. If AI gets scammed by AI, that would be kind of, that would be a story, right? But if you do happen to answer a phone, don't say nothing. Don't go hello. Wait for a second, especially if you're, because even like here in the States, I mean, the numbers will come through with a V on it for verified, but that doesn't mean they're truly verified. And then those verified numbers, the scam baiters we were talking about earlier, Jim Henning is right, one of them, and there's a couple of them that are really good to watch. And you're like, wow, I wish I can do this. But you just don't, you don't reply on the emails and stuff like that. Look at the email address and then don't answer the phone. If it's a family member, they'll leave a message. I don't know about you, but I think most of the time family members are texting anyway, Oh, and I'll get text. Like someone texted me a few weeks back, "Will you answer your damn phone?" Was a number that I didn't have in my was some West Coast area code. I don't know anybody really in the Western states that would have my number. So I just block those texts and that. Or, hey, I was thinking that we could meet for lunch. Again, not in my address book. Don't recognize the number. Block that number. Or somehow I'll get texts that are actually addressed to my wife. Just so many ways. But yeah, we just really don't answer the phone anymore unless we recognize the caller. And if it's important and they want to get to you, they will leave a message. It's a shame that we have to do that, but then I know like my wife's aunt, about 90 years old, using her iPhone for all these cat videos and all that, will answer every call. And I don't know you and hang up, but you've already talked to this person, you know? You don't recognize the number, it's not in your phone book, address book. Yeah, the Pixel phones are awesome. I mean, that in my opinion, it saves me so much time. Every once in a while, like from a doctor's office and that, I probably should learn maybe to put my doctor's phone number in my system, but I don't get many calls from my doctor. I don't have those major health issues in that where I need to do that. And it will go to the Google Assistant or end up going to the voicemail. But it does. Hi, I'm Google Assistant, and may I ask who is calling? Ooh. I've had some people say, I maybe wrong number. But it's the one of the best features about my Pixel phone is the phone answering and phone forwarding, or it's not phone forwarding, but phone answering. It's pretty awesome. I don't know, you know, if like the iPhones or all that can, do a lot of that stuff or how it does it. It used to be way back in the day if you got a phone call, like before all the smartphones and all that stuff. Oh, how important, someone's calling me. And going back, oh my God, I'm going back now. Ooh, was right after we moved in this house, so it's sometime 1993. And I get a call from someone that, we have this great price on airline tickets right now, or these resort tickets, and you know, uh, it sounded too good to be true. And I said, well, I'm gonna have to talk it over with my wife because we have to schedule a vacation. Well, I need to know now because this price won't be here forever. No, my son has he has the Pixel 8. I have the 8A Pro. But my wife has a TCL flip phone. Yeah, yeah, I like the Google Voice Assistant, and it's pretty good. Yeah, it leaves the like it records the call so you can look back. Even if it didn't go through the person hung up, you can determine whether it's legitimate or not. Again, if someone is really trying to reach out to you for a specific reason, if um, they'll leave a message. But again, if it's in your phone book, I think those calls will go through. They don't get filtered. It's just like, again, it's so much to keep in mind, that to think that why we are here, that yes, we should be careful. We should not be going to sites that are, you know, are unreparable. But with everything else that's going on in the world, in your life, with security issues and all that, that sometimes this is microscopic, right? This is my getting online and going, it to me, you can tell me I'm wrong. You can, because there's not every aspect of your life that you can completely control security wise. You need a credit card in most cases. People today, you cannot get away with not having a credit card. Cash is slowly being denied at a lot of places of business, restaurants and that. We plan to go to Summerfest this year. Summerfest is all cashless. Summerfest is a great music festival up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and it runs 3 weekends up to the 4th of July weekend. Fantastic place to go for music and that. Just a good time. It's right off the Lake Michigan, downtown, near downtown Milwaukee. It's cashless. I took my son and his buddy out for my son's birthday to this place called Interium, which is a gaming place at a big mall here, at Woodfield Mall. Not only are they cashless, but you gotta order. They have people that serve the food, but they have they don't take orders now. You have to do it at the desk. And you have to pay with your card. So more and more places are not dealing with cash. So, you need a card. Yeah, you need a card if you want good credit, and you want to be able to buy a car and all that. You got it. But you don't need more than, two. We have 2 cards and that's it. Now, we don't pay on a house anymore, just taxes. Our house is paid off and that. So our credit rating actually drops a little bit. Even though we pay our bills, we have no outstanding debt. But, the point is, you're using your cards all the time. My wife has had to change her credit. Now, I've never been my card has never been used nefariously. Ooh, big word, Andy, nefariously. I thought of a big word. But it's happened to my wife twice. And my son, who's got a card that just so he has it, and we have him use it once in a while, but never use it. And someone out in California charged $2,000 on his account on makeup and that. Now, how did he get his number? I don't know. All right, Andy. Need that pizza dough. Need it good. Thanks for stopping by, Andy. Always appreciate you here. Think of a big word for dinner. What would be a big word for dinner? Oh, you do the wet dough recently? I like that. I make my bread out of that way. No need dough recipe. Once in a while, I'll try to do. I won't make pizza out of it. but maybe like a pizza bread because it's almost too thick. But enjoy. Have a good evening, Andy. Appreciate it. Have victuals. You'll hear the term in the South, victuals. Victuals, but it comes from the word victuals, right? Which meant food or eating or whatever like that back in the day. Nova's credit card was compromised when the PlayStation Network was hacked back in 2010. Oh, it happened. So we have so much to worry about. Unless you happen to be living in your parents' basement, being on your computer, doing Steam and Xbox and PlayStation and all that stuff. And you don't have a worry in the world. And right now in the state, it's getting to be a pretty rough deal, right? We had so much to worry about. But I'm sorry, I'm going to be more secure on my card, try to be more secure on my card and all that stuff than I am going to be about browser blocking and all this other BS. Again, tell me I'm crazy, say I'm wrong. There's more important things, I think. Because again, once you're online, it doesn't matter what you're using. There's someone down the line that can, and you're usually your ISP. And unless you happen to have a real good VPS, right? No, VPS. And even then, because a lot of countries are blocking VPNs. But don't use a free one. Don't use a free one. Because they just skip your browser grabbing your stuff and then they grab your stuff.
Steve, someone has joined the chat on Twitch.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Hello, glue sniffer. Welcome to the stream. I am good. How are you? We've been babbling on about internet security and all the other stuff, hacking, scam baiting, all that fun stuff that we have to worry about every day of our lives these days. You know. You're very anxious. You made a decision while drunk that could come back to bite me. So stressing. Oh, dear. I think I've been in that position once or twice. Or I've been put in a position while drunk. Ooh. I hope for the best. Wow. Is that a NASA sticker I see on your thing, Nova? Or it's just so small I can't see it. Should we now start talking about conspiracy theories? You went to a party and got drunk, and then my mate's sister kissed me at the club, and I really didn't do anything to stop it. Yeah. You may be seeing ads on Twitch. So if you're on YouTube, of course, you don't see no ads. But then again, you don't hear no music. I don't play the music on YouTube. So that's the difference here. Oh yeah, so I think many of us have been in that situation. Sorta, kinda, yeah. We just use it, what happened? And then you hope that they'll go, oh man, you were really drunk last night. Do you remember anything that happened? Oh no. No. So we could go from security and all that now. Like the last couple of Sundays, we've talked about some conspiracy stuff, with flat earthers and moon deniers and the tactics they use to convince you that they are right. Talk about scam baiters. I think most of those, your flat earth Daves and all them, Mark Sargent, they're just finding ways to keep themselves funded. Deny the round earth, the globe, but yet have no real images of your flat earth. With many excuses and reasons why they can't. That's too much shit out there. Just too much. Just trying to keep, most of us just want to live a good life, have fun, be able to enjoy ourselves. A lot of us can't, whether they're in, have issues because of healthcare bills, or finances. But yeah. So let's talk about. I'm gonna be on here for a few more minutes. Let's talk about something that's pleasurable. Something that what has happened good that you can talk about. I know Sniffer's probably thinking about his mate's sister. What is it that you want? What is it that is making you happy right now or enjoying? Me, I'm looking forward to a very productive garden. You printed a Mr. Rogers trolley for your niece's birthday. Cool. You'll have to show that to us. next time you stream, or at least a picture of it. How did it come out? Good? My son, when he was little, used to love trolleys. Now, if we point out a trolley now, it's like, I'm not a kid no more, Dad. Oh, boy. But yeah, the storms that we had and all the lightning and that, Mike, I've not seen in all the years I've had a garden, maybe once or twice, but I have not seen a growth. I'll have to let's see. I don't have a picture now. I mean, I took this picture. I took this picture of my garden last weekend. In the week of rain and thunder and all that. Where are we? These tomato plants here are 3 times in just a week are 3 times the size. And I've had to put spikes in the ground and I have to start tying them up. They grew so much. I didn't expect them to grow so fast. The leaves, a couple of tomato plants are almost as big as my hand. Now, I heard that tomato plants like lightning and all that because so yes, tomato plants love the effects of thunderstorms. While the visual flash of a lightning strike doesn't directly feed the plant, the associated storms provide a free natural fertilizer by converting atmospheric nitrogen into a form your tomatoes can readily absorb. So the massive energy from lightning breaks apart nitrogen in the air and converts it into nitrates. These nitrates are washed down by the rain in the soil and give your plants an immediate natural fertilizer. And I did, I didn't overdo the fertilizer. I did make sure that I had fertilizer in there before I planted them. Pure hydration rainwater is soft, chlorine-free, and perfectly oxygenated. Another one of those big words. Hydrating the root system much more effectively than standard tap water. So yeah, so that's what it is. It's not the ozone or that, but it breaks apart the nitrogen in the air and all that. I'll take a picture today. I'm going to go out and kind of tie up the garden a bit. I put in the stakes, but I have to tie them up, and I have a kind of like a cotton string. I don't want the string to be too small because I'd be afraid of them cutting the plant. So I wouldn't tie them too tight. So I'm thinking of maybe either cutting up an old t-shirt and using the cloth because that'll be softer and tie them up. But the leaves, they're so heavy they're falling over, and the leaves are laying in the dirt, and that's not good for tomato plants. They can get all sorts of diseases in that, and I might have to trim them up. But man, they just, like, in this past week, because we've had some major lightning storms, thunderstorms, just unbelievable this week. So that's what I'm looking forward to, a good produce. And I got green onions that I planted in the soil, seeds, and those are growing now. My raspberry plant is flowering like crazy, and a bunch of raspberries. Hopefully I can get to them when they ripen before the birds do. The rabbits can't get to them. I have a fence around them. But the birds can get a chicken wire, and the squirrels can probably get up in there. And then we're trying a strawberry plant, a couple of strawberry plants this year. We got them on a pot, not in the garden, but in a pot. And from seeds, I have 5 basil plants, hopefully starting, and 5 more green pepper plants because we had the seeds. Sounds like it's still raining. And I need to mow my lawn. I should have done it yesterday, but it's funny, all this rain and the lawn really hasn't. There's certain spikes, and it's a good part. The lawn is it's got those long stalks with the lawn's natural seed, its own, seed in that. So, the lawn's pretty healthy. Although with all this rain, yesterday I'm walking on the grass and it's dry already. I just think when July and August come, which the last several years have been very dry. And again, we didn't have a bad winter. We had maybe a little more snow in this past year than we did the year before, but nearly not enough. But this rain, the Fox River, we're near the Fox River, that's overflowing. The wetlands that we have a couple of wetlands in our subdivision. They're pretty full. I'm just afraid that come July, August, that we'll start drying out again. But a lot of storms. All right, my friends, I think I am going to call it a day. I'm going to go eat, and my wife is going to get ready for work. I want to thank you all for joining me today. There we go. So unfortunately, one thing I don't do well is I don't rate out like I should, but I have to learn that. But thank you, Andy, for the channel points. I must have missed that. And Andy for being a subscriber. I want to thank Andy, Hans, Lake, and Kate, Omega Beast, Nova Charter, and Blue Sniffer over on the YouTube side. Twitch side. On the YouTube side, I want to thank Cubicle Nate, Crazy Tech, and Slurm Initiative for joining the stream today. And if you were lurking, please say hi. Or just do the command lurk. It's nice to know that people watch. My next show will be on Tuesday afternoon, Tux Tuesday. We'll be back on Linux, and we'll see if I get my audio fixed and my speaking voice. Okay, bye.